I've heard a long time ago that when the students are ready, the teacher will appear. And if there's any time that that is true, it's now. There's so many things that are now unboxing, and there's so many cans of worms that are now eloping, and there's so much information and misinformation and redirections going on in our world. It's crazy, and some of it will scare the bejeebies out of you because it's it's challenging. I need to choose my word right. It's challenging for you to have been taught something, to for you to have had a particular lifestyle and now have something happen that questions everything. Like that does not resonate with what I have learned. So your CPU, your brain, the memories, everything that you've been taught cannot compute it, cannot add one and one together. So these conversations I love having. I love working and expanding myself to the evolution of time. And I say, 100 years ago, many things that we have at our hands right now were things that people then would have looked on and called sorcery. They would find that something like that would have been impossible because their consciousness at that time wasn't there yet. They weren't ready yet for that evolutionary leap. So, does the evolution of mankind stop somewhere? Is there a flat line somewhere where everything stops and nothing else starts to expand? No. Human beings are here as a collective of cells to expand, to grow, to gain knowledge, to explore, to relate. And that's why relationships feel so complicated at times because it's just imagine 7.8 million people on the earth. We have 7.8 million personalities because everybody is free to evolve at their own comfort level, at their own rate, at their own time, and not everybody will. So I woke up this morning and I thought about it. I remember when I was just in school and I used to hear about the evolution of mankind and where we came from. And I thought to myself at that young age, wow, if we have evolved from Homo erectus species that was probably up to 1 million years ago, and in most recent times we say the most recent ancestors for us are Homo sapiens. And if you should stop and think about that, over a period of time, this earth has not seen anything new. The one thing for sure that earth has seen is an evolution and an increase in the consciousness of beings that has been on this planet. So, Homo erectus, Homo sapiens, human beings, as we stand up straight today, we're all from the same family lineage. Now, in every culture that you can think of, they all have a similar signature to this story. However, the players are different, but if you should stop and explore what they're saying, you'll realize that the blueprints are the same. So, what does that mean? Every single man, despite what you want to say, we are hominids. That's the species that you're coming from. Despite how you look, the color of your skin, it all depends on your geographical location. How you had to look in the area of the world that you were from. If you're of brown tan skin or if you're of lighter skin, if what you have consumed were more meat, or if you consume vegetables, if you should stop and go back a little bit, you will see that it's because of the geographical location where some natives had seafood and whatever they grew in the soil. Some natives had more meat, more plant-based diets, more animal-based diets. But if we're talking about the evolution of man, Just imagine every human being on this planet is a cell in your body. No matter how separate each personality is, I believe we've come to the time now where we have to stop and analyze to say, you know what? We are still a part of one massive consciousness, one main body, which is a consciousness of the universe, which is a God factor. And with the evolutionary period that we are in now, with artificial intelligence and engineering and everything that is happening, especially in healthcare, all these cures that are here, whether we are making use of them or not, and the exposure that people are understanding that so many natural alternatives are there for people to be healthy, mentally healthy, physically healthy, spiritually healthy. But as we evolve as mankind, shouldn't it be a point where we can stop and pat ourselves on the back, look back on the hominid that we're coming from to realize how far we have come and what are the breadcrumbs we are going to leave for our generations for the next 100 years? Because what we are experiencing now, imagine if we set the right blueprints, what they will experience 100 years from now. Because as much as we have evolved, life should have become easier every 100 years of our evolution. Because as our consciousness becomes expansive and our eyes start to clean itself from the shady lens that we looked through, thinking that we're separate, as we come to the stage now in this life to realize we aren't as separate as we thought. We are a part of one single consciousness that gives us the capability of an expansive knowledge that allows us to have freedom of choice and freedom of will. However, at the end of the day, we're still cells who eventually will have to collectively work together to make this one machinery, this one consciousness work. Isn't that amazing? So I believe for the first time in many years, as many people are now talking about peeling away, the skins of the onion, it's more about coming to a realization that the separatism that we have formed, the great marketing plan that we have followed with absorbing everything that was ever printed and absorbing everything that has been shown, to now stop for a second and realize that you as an individual cell who's a part of a God consciousness that is so expansive, you can find the truth from here, from within, from checking in, from your discernment of feeling what is right and what is wrong, and not just following a model of what was placed there for you. And you have done it. You have evolved out of a relationship that wasn't working for you anymore. That was an evolution for you. The woman who's in a relationship for 10, 15, 20 years and finally woke up one morning and had a conscious awareness. This does not serve me anymore. I choose to experience a different life. And you evolve from this relationship that does not serve you anymore. You evolve from this experience. You evolve from this environment. You evolve from this habit of substance abuse or how you treat your body or how you treat your health. And you have evolved. The whole point of being human is always checking in here where truth lies and allow yourself, the spirit that you are, to use this vehicle to evolve consciously to the best version of yourself. What does that mean? It can mean a different thing for every person. What matters is that you're living in your fullest potential. And that's the evolution of mankind. Now, as soon as we realize this, we will slowly start to see things we normally see and ignore, and now find ourselves saying, feeling, this is not right. This does not feel right anymore. And we have now evolved into a time with technology that is now allowing people who would have otherwise remained dormant to now become vocal and visual and speak their truths. Now, in this, we will have a plethora of darkness and light because it's always been that way. But what I've learned so far is being good comes with a weight, and being good as far as human beings see it also comes with conditions. So good for me from my perception is bad for you from your perspective, because my perception is what I see in front of me and what I experience, and as much as my brain can compute. And somebody on the other side, their perception is what they are seeing from their angle, which can mean something completely different. It can be something that's negative to them but positive to me. And truth is where all perspectives are allowed to meet in a middle ground. So how do we resolve it? We allow each other to express ourselves according to where our conscious level is, and you allow each person to choose what works for them. Because at the end of the day, everyone has an individual physical experience that we take back to the whole, to the God consciousness, and we answer for them whether they were positive or negative. But we all go back to this one body as hominids, and this is a lesson for the whole. How you decide to experience this is yours. And every book, I believe, says the same thing. Leave vengeance to God. Leave all these things for God to answer. Do not judge anyone. Allow the God consciousness to judge. And I think the reason why that is written is because it takes the weight off of you, for you to think you have to judge somebody, or you have to hate somebody, or you have to have bitterness towards anyone, because that adds an additional weight that the human body really can't access with fairness. We are so emotional in this physical sense that we can never be fair. There can never be justice if we have judgment and fear and bitterness and hate. There can never be justice because from our perception, it will never match fairly with your perspective. For the people who will understand what I'm saying, your conscious level is there now for you to see that each one of us, no matter the color we are, people keep looking for doom and gloom. I perceive from where I sit that we are already in World War III. It's just not the one that we've read in our history books. It's one that's in technology, in the words that people speak, in the small pockets of wars that are going on in other parts of the country that is not targeted in those parts of the country. It's a war between Russia and Ukraine, but all eyes on the allies that are supporting Ukraine. It's a war between Israel and Palestine, but all eyes on the countries that are supporting Israel. And it's like pockets of swords all over the place being planned by the powers that be or were, by the darkness as far as I'm concerned, and using these as models to tarnish a beautiful world and to keep the hate alive and to keep the judgment alive and to have people choose between one life and the other, which is never fair. So we are going through a World War III as we speak, with the freedom of life not being something that is important, that the freedom of health is not something that is important anymore, and where people are not free to evolve freely the way they should, as a flower that is in bloom, and all the necessary environment is there, the sunlight and the moisture and the dew that allows this flower to bloom at the right time. And if we should look at our plant life and our animals and understand how they live without the judgment, and just living every day the best way they know how, and giving homage and giving gratitude and love for a greater consciousness, and evolving with the time and adapting to the changes that happens, and just living every day like it's the last day and the first day, and charting ways and using our voices on our platforms to speak love and unity, and ensuring that the next generation, if there should be a capsule somewhere for them to open up 100 years from now, they can see where this hominid race came from, the breadcrumbs that we left for them, the blueprints that we have created for them to evolve even more as we relate, as we love, as we give hope and remember prayer and reverence in the greater consciousness that if God decided that he was going to strike today, I'm going on strike. I'm tired of how they're treating this world. I'm tired of how they treat each other. I'm tired of how they propagize the things that should be of love and make it colorful with an illusion of hate. I'm tired of what they're doing, and I am going to strike. I'm going to stop the sun from coming out. I'm going to stop everything that I do to sustain this earth. Then what would you do? And if you think about that, you'll realize that you are only a cell, a part of a great consciousness. And eventually, we're not breaking chains anymore. We are connecting links. Every choice that every person makes, and we keep connecting links, and we decide if we want to have a healthy, conscious body or not. Food for thought.